Perfect. Okay. Try that one more time. So welcome. I'm Kelley, the plant-based kitchenista, if you haven't met me before. Most of you probably have seen me either on these shows or sometimes or not sometimes, but I do a once a month show and stuff with Chef AJ. So it's on her channel that we do. And then there's lots of other different things that we've done. But we usually do these classes about every 2 weeks. Every once in a while and stuff, we hit the holidays, which then makes it a little tough. So there's only one this month. And then I will work on getting everything set up for probably like January, February, and March. That way you guys can see what's going on for the next 3 months and have everything up there, because it takes a while to get the recipes up there and things. So I just want to make sure that I kind of keep ahead of it. So we'll do that. So tonight is all about kind of like, I guess, holiday appetizers or tapas type of a thing. Because over like if you joined us and stuff, I did a whole bunch of classes even on Chef AJ's channel for different holiday recipes, like entrees and salads and all those fun things like that. So I was like, I need to do something different. So could have done a dessert class. It was that crossed my mind, but then I was like, that's a lot of desserts to make. So, and it's, Jerry doesn't eat much desserts and I don't either. So I was like, nah, we'll switch that, because I did a couple desserts in between. So we are doing like I said, the appetizers tapas, because there's always, everybody's back together and families and you're going to parties and all those kind of things. And it's kind of fun to take it's really fun and stuff to be able to take things there and have something that's a little bit different. So these are going to be 4 different recipes that we're going to try. So we're going to do a tomato flatbread, which is absolutely delicious. It's a great, it's pizza dough and all those things. So and you can do, very simple, which is what I'm going to show you, to very elaborate, whatever you want to do. Then we're going to do a baked onion fritters, because I know that a lot of you probably liked, what am I trying to say? Onion rings. And so, having something that's sort of like onion rings, but it doesn't have all the breading and all the frying, because we're plant-based, no oil. That's one of the big things that, so having something that's like that and still being able to have it where it's nice and baked and that fun, something fun. And they're pretty. So you can stack them up like little snow kind of drifts type of thing and stuff, which is pretty. And then spinach artichoke cups. We are not going to be using the phyllo dough, no phyllo in town, but it's also a higher fat type of an ingredient. So we're actually using wonton shells, which then gives you, we're going to put them into muffin tins. So we'll make them just a little bit different. And then so slow roasted tomato hummus. And then we have that. I already have pita chips that are made up, but you could put, carrots and celery and all that. And thinking about, doing something like this, if you have a bunch of people come into your house, you could actually do like a really fun charcuterie board. So, you could have the tomato flatbread, you could have, pieces or, 3 or 4 of those on a table that's covered with, like the black wrapping paper or red wrapping paper. So you can do that. And then you could do, then you could put like the dips around it. And then you could put vegetables, and then you could have your fritters and artichoke cups and, and pretzels and all kinds of fun things all the way through it. And then have a really, really fun, and hummuses and different kind of flavors of hummus, and have a really like fun place for people to go. I did it for a granddaughter it was like a graduation fun party. And we did a huge table that seats 6, and it was just nothing but like all kinds of like dips and food, fun things to eat. And it was beautiful board. So it ended up turning out really, really pretty. And she got to decorate it and felt like she owned that for her friends. So those are just fun ways to do holidays. So I'll go ahead and have Jerry introduce himself, and then we're going to get started on recipes 1 through 4. He's got his, I don't know if it's, it's not, I guess he went for an ugly sweater, but it's not really an ugly sweater, but it's,
It's Christmas.
Sort of. It's glue.
It's that time of year, so we're celebrating Christmas. So but I bring out I went to Pilates this morning and had an ugly sweater day. And so I found this and we're good. So Merry Christmas to everybody. But anyway, I'm Jerry Casados, plant-based nutritionist. For the first time, for those who don't know me and the first time here, we had a lot of first timers sign up. So that's good. We enjoy that. But I'm here to answer any questions about nutrition. I am certified instructor for Dr. John McDougall's Start Solution program, which he's been doing for over 40 years to help people get well. And we've been plant-based, Kelley and I, for 16 years. And I did it for health reasons. The heart disease was developing, and I was on blood pressure and cholesterol meds, and it wasn't good. It wasn't looking good future, but went and saw him for 10 days and he changed my life, and the rest is history. But we're trying to educate people more. I do have an announcement. I'm going to start doing more classes, Zoom classes through our meetup group here for the new year in January. And they'll probably get the introduction to the Starch Solution, McDougall's program, which I teach, and maybe do some microbiome, type 2 diabetes. If you have any preferences, I've done several of those before, and they'll be on my YouTube channel. But deciding new year, we need some new classes, new educations for those who are starting out or just want to get a refresher course for some people. So yeah, feel free to ask any questions about it, and hopefully we'll post it on Meetup and let everybody know. But I'm here to eat the food, so enjoy.
And maybe do the dishes. Probably won't happen. We were talking about that at somebody else's house and stuff, that everybody has I think it was even, I don't remember who it was, but in stuff, everybody has a preference on how they like the dishwasher loaded. So I end up liking the dishwasher loaded a certain way. So I usually end up doing the dishes. So, all right. So we're going to start together. We're going to start first with the baked onion fritters, because I kind of numbered them as far as like what I need to get in the oven, what takes a little bit longer, and then goes down to the tomato hummus and stuff, because that's a lot of that stuff's ready, and that's just making hummus. So let's get the baked onion fritters ready going first. All right. Just take everything off here, and then I can put the tray out of the way. A little bit bigger bowl. All right, so if you're following along, so we've got the oven that's at 350 degrees. I actually have it in between because I need it at like 375 and 350 for the recipes. So I've got it like 365, 370. So somewhere in between, so the things will cook just a little bit faster. So we're going to combine all the ingredients in the bowl. So we've got a half a cup of the chickpea flour. Can't talk today. And then we have a half a cup of the brown rice flour. So you'll notice and stuff on a lot of recipes that, or if you're watching a lot of the cooking shows, a lot of times they'll use rice flour whenever they want to have something that's lightly breaded. So that's a really popular way to do that. It's not all plant-based. Everybody uses it for a lot of different things. And then we've got green chilies. So these are just regular, you can do jalapenos if you want them really hot, serranos, whatever you want. These are just regular like hatch green chilies type of thing. They're fresh, but if you wanted to, you could always substitute in the hatch that are already roasted, which you could do that too. So I'm going to put part of them because I don't want to burn my mouth out. And I don't know, let's see how hot it is first. Not hot. Anaheim. Okay. Not really hot. Well, put them in. All right. And if you don't like green chilies or serrano chilies or hot chilies and stuff, leave them out. You don't have to have them in there. You could always substitute in like scallions if you wanted a little bit of the color when you're doing the little mounds of the baked onion fritters. Then we've got a little bit of red pepper flakes. Same thing. If you don't like something that's hot, leave it out. So it just looks really pretty. Then we're going to do, so basically half a cup of water and 1 tablespoon. So I already measured that out. So I'm going to just grab a spoon. Can also use a whisk if you want to. It's going to probably get a little bit thick. So let me just switch out with a whisk. And if it gets really thick, because sometimes, depending on what brand of flours that you get, sometimes it'll get really thick and then you're going to want to mix, all the onions in there. So then just add some water because all you're trying to do is get it coated. So this one's getting pretty thick. So just add a little bit of water, kind of look at it a little bit. You want it more kind of like almost like a little bit runnier than a pancake batter. All right. That's pretty good. Water out, don't need that. All right, so then we're going to add the onions. So you can spiralize the onions if you want to do it. You could, if you've got really good knife skills, you can chop them really thin. What I did is I took the onion, cut it in half, and then I did half moons. That way and stuff, then they kind of hold a little bit better together. You could do full rounds if you wanted to too. It's up to you. Notice there's one of those. Look at that. Okay, so let's just add some of these in. Switch that. Kind of adding it in a piece at a time, so that way I can get them nice and mixed. Gonna have lots of the peppers in there, so there's lots of the Anaheim peppers. Just a few more. And if you spiralize them, if you have a really good spiralizer, if you spiralize them too, you could actually get really long, like the curly cues, like I call them the little pigtails. Used to be my favorite type of French fry when I used to eat French fries that were fried. Nothing better than getting a curly cue. All right, I'm gonna get these going. Quite a bit at the bottom. There you go. So parchment lined or Silpat baking sheet is what you're going to want. And then you're going to grab them out and do them in little bundles. I wouldn't do them like terrifically big. So if you do something, so they look like little haystacks. And they're going to have, you know, if you do it spiralized and stuff, you're going to get more pieces that are going to be round. But if you just do them like I was doing, like the half moons and the really thinly chopped, you're going to get them that they kind of stick out a little bit. But those are fun because then you get, like I said, they look like haystacks. And you want to put them apart, but make sure they hold together. And if you wanted more batter on them, so you wanted even more batter, then just double the recipe. That would be another way to do it. I tend to prefer light batter. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to add some of the green, some of the peppers, because of course it's like all the good things that you have on a salad, they all go to the bottom. Just add those in there. One more little bit, and then we are done with those. All right, now they're going to go into a 375 oven. So like I said, I kind of put between 350 and 375. So I'm about 370. So I'm going to put them in the oven, and then they're going to bake for, and you can see how pretty they are. And you could put different, different ingredients with them if you wanted to put like red peppers instead of the Anaheim green peppers or serranos, all those kind of things. But they're going to bake for about 20 minutes. So in they go. We'll get those going. Thank you on the Red Chef jacket. That it was one of the things that I put everything into the dry cleaners, and we forgot to pick up the dry cleaning. So that was part of it. Okay. So number 2, spinach artichoke cups. So we're gonna get started with a little bit of vegetable broth. You could use, if you want to use like fresh, I'm using fresh spinach, but if you didn't want to have to saute it up because it's maybe, I've heard some people don't like the consistency of spinach when it's steamed up, but we're going to do it on this because it's going to be mixed in with everything else. So just a little bit of vegetable broth. Then I will grab all the ingredients. This is the fun part of cooking when you have everything made up. This is what I like. If all of us could have this ready for when we get home, then we would be doing a lot more of this type of cooking and things because you don't have to do all the chopping. So let's start this up. All right, so I'm going to add, I've got 3/4. So yeah, well, half a pound of the fresh spinach. So what I did is that, because I have a lot of fresh spinach that I eat in like green drinks and things like that, but I just chopped it up because I'm thinking about, when you're trying to eat and you've got the consistency of things that you're eating, if we're going to have like a cashew cheese and I've got artichoke hearts that I chopped up too, I want everything to have, like you get everything in one bite. It's like that perfect bite. That's what Guy Fieri always says, that perfect bite. So that's why I just chopped up the spinach, just made sure that it was just kind of all uniform and even. So I'm going to add that in. Add as much spinach as you want, because you know that when you put in spinach and you put in kale and things like that, once once you start steaming things or sauteing it, it goes from this to this. So if you want more spinach, feel free to add that in. Just grab another spoon. You could also, even though it's spinach artichoke, if you wanted to add some other different like flavors or different things, if you've got some red bell peppers or even roasted red peppers, you could just add that in with the the artichokes when you do that. Or if you wanted to saute them up a little bit, you could just add it into the rest of the vegetables, the spinach, which is really nice. So think about these recipes as like a base recipe that I'm giving you. So, lots of places, lots of things to do with it and lots of places to take it. And I guarantee you, every one of these will get eaten at any place that you go. But think if you've got other things that are in your fridge and you're like, ooh, I've got a yellow bell pepper or red bell pepper or something like that that's in there, or some onion or that, some of the like scallions and stuff are pretty because they're green. Feel free to add those into your recipes and stuff and make them your own. That's what it's all about. So just a kind of a light saute. Turn that off. So just a light saute, not much. And what I'll do is I'll pull and make sure that there's not, any moisture and things like that that's in there, because I don't need that in the spinach artichoke dip. So I'll just let that sit for a few minutes. So I do have the artichokes. So it was just a can or a jar of artichokes, and then I just chopped it up, or you could use the frozen ones. Those are nice to keep around. So just chop them up. If you don't like artichoke hearts, because you need something that's a little briny with it, then you could always just maybe use, if you don't like the consistency, you could always use like mushrooms. That's another consistency issue I know a lot of people have. But you could also do something briny, so like a little bit of caper, of the juice and stuff that goes with it, that type of a thing. So different ways you can make it. I know that a lot of people, like when we go to restaurants and things, it's always ordered spinach artichoke dip with, of course, lots of cheese in it and lots of, chips and fried chips and things like that goes it. This is a much healthier version. So, and you can eat as much as you want, which is good. All right. So we got that in there. So we're not going to do, so I got a little bit of garlic powder. I just have a little bit that I do. So I'll just add a little bit now, just to give it a little bit of flavor. Not that it's going to need it, but it's always good. Cashew cheese. So now what we're going to do, and you can tell this is one of my old blender that I've used a long, long time, because you can tell by, if you look at it, it's discolored. And there was a big talk about it the other day about how do you get rid of discoloration on these blenders and stuff from the Vitamix. And everybody was pretty much like, well, you can put, like all kinds of different things in it, like, what am I trying to say? Vinegars and things. Doesn't change it. I've tried. It's just old, very old. But I wanted a smaller one so I could make the cashew cheese. So we're going to add the cashews. So you got cashews here. So 3/4 cup of cashews. They're raw cashews. They've been soaking overnight. So if you get to where you decide, oh, I want to make this really quick, and you're going to a party or something like that, and you forgot to soak your cashews, feel free to put like water, like really hot water, and let them stand for about 5 minutes. Or you could put water in them, put them in the microwave, or you could put them into like a saute pan and stuff and kind of saute them up too. That's just easier ways to break down cashews. But I made them last night and started soaking them. So they are going in. If you don't want cashews, there's almonds, there's walnuts, there's all kinds of different nuts that you could use. Cashews just tends to be probably one of the most popular ones when you're making things like this. All right, so we got that. So we're going to blend all the ingredients. So we've got 2 tablespoons of tapioca flour. You can also use arrowroot. You can use non-GMO cornstarch. Completely up to you, whatever you have in the house. Don't run out and buy something. Apple cider vinegar. So we got 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. Probably one of the most well-used vinegars now that we're plant-based. Use it a lot on pretty much everything. Gives you that nice umami, gives you the, you got the sweet and the tart and the vinegar and all those flavors like that. And then we're going to do 1 1/4 cups of water. So just measure that out. That. And then we've got, so a tablespoon of nutritional yeast or more to taste. So whenever I say, and this is even with my recipes, when you go with spices, and I know that a lot of you guys that have been on the show and stuff, you're like, okay, yeah, we know this. But for you guys that are new, even when you're going with recipes and stuff, go low on the spices and go low on the, like on the garlic powder, the nutritional yeast. So if I say like a quarter teaspoon or a half teaspoon of garlic powder, start out with like an eighth and then build up, taste it and build up. And then that way mark on your recipe and stuff what you like, because everybody has different flavor profiles. And what I don't want you to do is, even though it's been trusted, through many, many different people, I don't want you to try something and go, ooh, I don't like it, and throw it away, because that's not fun. So I tend to prefer, even though I say tablespoon of nutritional yeast, I would rather have it cheesier. So I'm going to be adding probably about 2.5 tablespoons. So nutritional yeast is, and a lot of people are like, oh, it's bad for you and stuff, and it's a brewer's yeast. It's actually just, so nutrition, let me just I'll grab one of the things, but it's just something that you can buy. It's Bragg's. I think I have it somewhere. Oh, maybe I don't. Maybe I got rid of it, the bag. So nutritional yeast, what it does, it looks like little yellow fish flakes, but it actually gives you like the cheese flavor. So a lot of people will use it, if you're making some kind of a ricotta or you're making it like a cheese sauce, it gives you that nice cheese flavor. But it also is, but some people I've heard lately have been allergic to nutritional yeast. So if you want to try it, try a little bit and make sure. I've only heard like maybe 1 or 2 people that are allergic to it. So you have to substitute it for other things. Yep, has many vitamins. Yep, vitamins, mineral plus B12. It also is really good if you do like air pop popcorn and you do a little bit of salt, pepper, and nutritional yeast. Really good. Don't need all that butter and stuff like that with this. So then I'm going to do, so I've got the garlic powder. So I've got a half a teaspoon of garlic powder and a teaspoon of onion powder. That's for your flavors also. And then I've got garlic. So 4 cloves of garlic, just minced garlic. And then I've got the water in there. I've got this out of the way. And it goes on the blender. Check and see if it's smooth. And it is. Your cheese sauce is ready when it's smooth. So you don't see any of the cashew chunks or anything like that there. There's nothing here. It's just very smooth like that. Good. You could add, so once you taste it, you could add, you're like, oh, I'd like some more nutritional yeast. And that's why I did 2.5 tablespoons. Or, oh, I'd like a little bit more garlic or something like that. So when you get it ready, taste it, and then figure out what makes sense. All right, so I've got a large bowl. So I've got there's the cashew cheese sauce. Could be almond, could be walnut, could be whatever you're looking to make. It's really fun too, is if you have a little bit of a cashew cheese sauce, let's just say you're making this and you have a little bit left over, this makes an awesome pizza. So if you have, let's just say you get, you made the 12, 24 of the spinach artichoke cups, and you're like, I'd like something else. Get another piece of pizza dough and put all this ingredients on the pizza dough and add some asparagus and things like that. Really good. Okay. So let's add in artichoke hearts. Those will go in there. Make sure your spinach is drained. If you're really worried about the water or basically the water or the things that are coming there, the saute around it, feel free to take your spinach and stuff and put it like in a paper towel or usually what I usually do is like one of these white cotton towels, and you could squeeze it out a little bit more. This would be another one too if you wanted to add what are they called? They're in Chinese food. Not wontons. They're little round and they're white and they're crunchy. No, not chestnuts. Anybody think what the name of them is? They're in cans. I'm blanking. I'm just going to put a little bit of scallions in it. Not chestnuts. Water chestnuts. That's what it is. Water chestnuts would be really good in here. So if you chop them up and you get a little bit of the crunchy, that'd be good in this. Okay. So then I'm going to grab the little phyllo cups and stuff. If you find them in the stores, they are already made up. So they're not like not sheets. They're actually little tiny cups like this, and you can get them. I've seen them where they're chocolate ones, and I've seen just the regular ones. They are a little bit higher calorie. They've got a little bit of oil in them and things like that. So this is, not something you want to eat every day. It's like once in a blue moon that you do it, but a much easier way to do it and get away from that and stuff and keep it healthy so that you can eat it, enjoy it, and so can your family is wonton shells. So the wonton wraps, you just get them in little squares like this, and then you just press them down, kind of get them where even. And sometimes you get two, so you just got to make sure. So just kind of put it on there, push it down in the middle. And who doesn't like a wonton shell? Nobody. And these are fun too. So once let's just say you make up, like a couple dozen of the artichoke cups, and you're like, geez, I still have, half a bag of the wonton shells. Then you can, you can make some, like empanadas. You could make, there's so many other things that you could make with these that if you go up on my site, I've done them. And you can also, some people just make them as chips. They just bake them up and do chips. Okay, so there's 12. Just get going. And if you wrap them up and you put, you wrap them in plastic and stuff and put them in the fridge, they usually last about a week and a half to 2 weeks for the wonton shells without drying out. So I'll put those, and here's the Sunday Soya is the brand and stuff that I got at the regular grocery store. Usually they're by, usually by like the tofus and like the plant-based cheeses and all that is usually you're going to find them. You just want to make sure that your wonton shells are even, so you don't have one that's falling too much on the side. So then I was going to grab one of these bigger spoons to make it easier. And this is something too that if you wanted to, you could make it up the day before and then just, have the shells and everything else, the wonton shells ready to go like this, and then just make them up and put them in the oven. So less work on the holidays, which would be nice. Because I know that sometimes I feel like that I spend all day in the kitchen, and then it's like, I don't know, 15, 20, 30 minutes. It's like dinner's over and it's all gone. And then you're cleaning it all up. So kind of nice to not have to spend all day in the kitchen. So I did chop, like I said, I chopped up some scallions because they're always pretty when you're making things to use them as decoration at the end. You could also do chives. You could do, you could do all kinds of fresh herbs. Two more to go. Hopefully the rest of the family, yeah. He brings them over to me. So he brings the dishes over and then I put them in the dishwasher. But all right, there we go. So there they are made up, ready to go in the oven. So we're going to do them for about, I think it's about 15 to 20 minutes. So should be good. We're getting some browning. I'll show you that really quick. And you can tell I have a gas onion oven. Boy, today's one of those talking days. Gas oven and stuff because it likes to scorch my parchment paper at the side, but that's okay. But pretty soon the house, even though they're starting to brown, I'm just now at this point starting to smell them where you can smell the onions that are baking. They smell good. So I probably have enough of the spinach artichoke dip and stuff to probably make another 12. So it'll probably make 24 if you use the wonton wraps. So I'll just put that off to the side. Sticky. Recipe number 2, number 3, tomato flatbread. Yum. So I might actually take this off to the side for a minute. So pizza dough, you can get, there's all kinds of pizza doughs that are out there. A lot of them tend to have oil in them. So, unless you make one that's completely homemade, you may end up getting just a little bit of oil, but it's the same thing, one of those things that you don't want to do a lot of. But if you make your own and stuff and doesn't have any oil in it, then you can eat as much pizza as you want. There is a new brand that is, and I was looking for it. They're sold at like Sprouts, and I'm assuming you could probably get it at Whole Foods, but it is pizza that is made with, it's whole grain. And it's already the pizza that's made up and they have like little holes in them and they come in these packets, like 3 to a pack. And they're really cool. They're actually, we've been doing them a lot lately because like if you go out for pizza around here in Colorado, we're in Colorado, it's okay. It's not the best and stuff. So we've been using this whole grain and putting like our own pizza sauce and making our own pizzas. I'll put like artichoke hearts and, all kinds of, whatever I've got in the fridge, kind of one of those things. I've even put broccoli and asparagus and all the fun things. And it's really good. And it bakes up really nice and it's really crispy, but it's really thin. So that's a really good one. Nope, did not grease the muffin trays. Yeah, did not do it. So if you're worried about that, because these are the muffin trays that I have are really good about not sticking. But if you're worried about and stuff, you can get almost like the Silpat type of or silicone type of a thing that you can get now. And there's ones that I just saw on QVC, which I thought were pretty cool because sometimes they're metal on the outside and then they're silicone on the inside. But they actually have ones that were on there that through QVC, which of course has everything, it's like Amazon. The whole entire tray was silicone. So you could, pop it, move it, whatever you needed to do. And like everything that they put in it, just instead of like prying it out and having to just do the little pieces, it just kind of like they bend it and it's just like everything pops out, which was pretty cool. So no, that one's just a metal, no grease or anything like that on that one. Pizza dough. It's always best to keep it cold right before, so I brought it out a little bit sooner. It just peels a little bit easier. Okay, I'm gonna do that with the tray there. Do this because it'll be easier. And this one's a thin crust already, but if you wanted to, to make it even thinner, let's just say the one that you got was a little bit heavier and then you wanted to do that, just, just put a little bit of flour on it, use a rolling pin and then flatten it out a little bit more. It's liking to stick, like I said, because it's been in the refrigerator a little bit. I'm going to make it a little bit more because I have a baking sheet that's oblong. So I'm going to pull it out a little bit. That way, stretch it. But if you got those cool pizza pans for your oven, throw it on there and away you go. So there. So spread out enough where it's not so much where it's overlapping the pan, and a little bit more oblong. So kind of more of an oval that I did that. All right, so we're going to do tahini. So tahini, if everybody's not familiar with tahini, it's one that we use like in if we want to make our hummuses and stuff really smooth. You can also just really cook your garbanzo beans, and make sure you pull off the skins on them, and then you can mash them up. And a lot of times you'll get that smoothness. But a lot of people and stuff will use tahini. So it's basically ground sesame seeds. And that's something that, use a little bit here and there. It's like, so what did I say? 2 to 3 tablespoons. So it's not a lot of tahini, but it's just enough to spread it on, give you that flavor and that kind of that roasted sesame flavor. And it also, like I said, makes your hummus really smooth. So we are going to, so I have a little bit here. What I really like now is I've seen it, and I've only seen it like twice, is that hummus and stuff will come now in a spreadable bottle. So if you can find it, highly recommend it if you can find it. It might be I think the last I bought it, I think it was like the same price, because a lot of times and stuff, if your hummus sits in your depending on the hummus that you have, sits in your pantry and things, will end up getting kind of really thick on the bottom, and then you've got to mix in everything, the oils and things. But you can see I'm just mixing it up. It sit there overnight. It was in the fridge. But the spreadable one's really nice. It's just in a squeeze bottle. Spray it out, and then you just spread it out, which is really cool. So I'm just going to grab some hummus. Oh, tahini. Yes, some hummus. You could actually do hummus too. You could do, this roasted, so the roasted tomato hummus that we're doing, you could actually add this onto the pizza too, and that would be really good. Because we did for class, I don't know, it was probably about 6 months ago, maybe longer. We did a hummus pasta. And that's, when I first made it, sometimes I get the curled up nose from Jerry. That doesn't sound good. And I may have to, I might eat a little bit, but then I probably will eat something else. Never happens. He'll do those kind of things. And he used to do that when we used to cook at Whole Foods when they had cooking classes there. And he'd be like, well, I'm going to eat before I come. And then he'd regret that he did that, because he's like, oh my gosh, that's good. And the hummus pasta, you make your own hummus, and then you bake it with all your tomatoes and everything else together. And then you start adding your vegetables and mix it together. It is so good. We actually gave a bunch to the neighbors to let them try it. And they were just like, oh my God, didn't realize it was a hummus pasta. So I just have a little bit more. That. So just, oops, grab edge. Just moved it around so it looks good. Make sure it's all evened out. Then a couple of suggestions you could do if you want to make it really festive. You could grab a whole bunch, like if you have a bunch of spinach left over, fresh spinach, you could actually layer it with spinach and then come back and layer it with all the tomatoes. You could add, rings of like maybe zucchinis, whatever you want to do with this. It's one of those, here's the base, here's just the base recipe. And then you add as you'd like. And you could do like when it's in the summer and you've got all those I can't talk today. This is interesting. Heirloom tomatoes, and you got all the different colors, and you got the purples and the reds, and they're big and small and all that. You could actually do this same pizza with cutting them up. And the last time we did this we had a cooking class, we actually did that and cut them all up different sizes and things. Oh my God, it was so pretty. Trying to get some of the yellow ones because there seems to be a lot more red. So it's just like, grape tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, you've got heirloom tomatoes, whatever you've got, just start adding it, putting it down, add some spinach. You could add some basil. I'm going to add fresh basil at the end. I'm going to add some garlic. You could make a face. If you get kids, you could, if they like tomatoes and things like that, just be like, okay, we're going to make, just add all the ingredients and like make your own pizza party. Those are fun. Just get them all in here. See, I'm just starting to add them. Got a kind of a purple one. So if you're going to make a pizza like this and you got the tahini, what else would you add? It's a question to you guys that are watching. I'd like to know what else you would add to your pizza. Asparagus. Broccoli, you could do it. What else? Mushrooms, yep. Mushrooms would be really good. Not for me. Not a mushroom fan. Like I said, if I grind it up in things, I'm okay, but just to eat it. Onions, love onions. Onions on anything, I think, is good. So you could do the red onions. Yeah, exactly. You could do the color. You could do olives would be great. It's one of those things. Make it as festive as you want. Bell peppers, love them. Nice thing about it, the tahini actually has your tomato stick. Add a few more because I got found the purple ones at the bottom. Yeah, very much so. Love it. Love hearing the ideas. Gets everybody creative of thinking about like what else you could do. But I guarantee if you made like little, because usually if you go, it's like you usually get everybody brings the vegetable tray. You make like 2 or 3 of these and you make maybe some, different ones and just, different flavors. What do you think is going to go first? Vegetable tray or these wonderful little pizzas? Pizzas. Jalapeno. Yeah, you could do all kinds of chilies. You can almost do like just a chili pizza. That would be really good. All right. Just use all the tomatoes. All right, garlic. Sprinkle it around. You could also, if you don't want to do this by hand like this, you could also just mix it in with mix it in with tahini and then just do it that way and then just spread it. Oh yeah. Anything marinara sauce, oregano. You could also, like I said, if you've got leftover for the, it's enough garlic. If you got leftover of the the cashew cheese sauce that we just made with all of the spinach and everything else in it, that would be good too. That would be a very different pizza. And then the last thing, and I only have a little, so I have got a whole thing, but the last thing is if you want just a little bit, is just a few pine nuts. So nuts are a little bit higher in fat. So I just did a few. You could put a lot, but I just did a very few. You could also do nutritional yeast if you wanted to do that. Give it that nice cheesy flavor. So before I do any basil or anything like that, because I'll do that at the end, there it is, all mixed up, ready to go, and it's really good. It's another thing that Jerry was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like a tahini pizza with tomatoes and stuff. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna get those in here in a second. I am like full up. Let me move some things around. Smaller baking sheet. This is when you need like, I don't know, 4 or 5 double ovens. I would love that. All right. Okay, recipe number 3 down. Slow roasted tomato hummus. So what I did, so the first thing that we started out with is you're gonna roast your tomatoes. So you've got 2 pints of cherry tomatoes or grape tomatoes, whatever, whatever's out there. Use whatever's on sale, whatever you want to do. Like tomatoes right now for the little packs of the pints of cherry tomatoes and stuff, I think we're at $1.99, which is a really good price. So you're gonna bring those in and you're gonna put them on. You're just gonna, don't even cut them up. There's no, no muss, no fuss. Put them on a baking sheet with your parchment paper. And then you're going to sprinkle them with a little bit of vegetable broth because you want kind of that steaming type of going. You can add a little bit of sweetener if you want, but tomatoes get pretty sweet. So you don't have to add the sweetener if you don't want to, but you could use, maple syrup, you could use agave, you could use date paste, you could use monk fruit, whatever you want. Then a little bit of garlic. And then you've got, sea salt and black pepper. You'll notice that I've not salted anything. We don't do the salt here as far as when I'm cooking with the salt because Jerry doesn't like salt. But if I want it on the table, I'll do it, but it's, it's good for, some people have to have low sodium, and a lot of times it's about food addiction too. That's what Chef AJ talks about, and love Chef AJ. Talks about, if you eat too much salt, you crave more and you eat more. If you eat too much sugar, it's the same thing. You crave more and you eat more. So we just stay with it unless I want to put some on top, like potatoes or something like that. And then you're going to do a little bit of dried thyme. So thyme and stuff gives you that really nice kind of a aroma flavor. That's thyme always reminds me of the thing like holidays type of a season. And you're just putting that on a baking tray and you're putting it in the oven at basically 300 degrees, and you're just letting those slow roast. And so your tomatoes and stuff are going to get to where they look like this. That's how gooey they get. So they pop on their own and the seeds come out and things, and you'll get some of them that are a little bit brown, but they become really, really sweet. So that's what you want your tomatoes to look like. But this is another nice thing. You can do this the day ahead of time or a couple of days ahead of time, and then just keep them in the fridge when you're ready to use it. And I didn't quite, that's not quite 2 pints. That was probably like more 1.5, because I used some of the tomatoes and stuff for the pizza. So I didn't get as many of those back. Getting there. Probably a couple more minutes for the wonton. So we're going to get this out of the way. We are going to make the hummus. Food processor. Yeah, it doesn't, I think what it comes down to, what I always think about, I don't care how big your kitchen is, it's never big enough. We doubled in size in the kitchen when we moved. Still not big enough. All right, so making your own hummus, and making your hummus is really good. Let me just show you a couple things why they're. Yeah. So these are almost ready. Just switch. They smell so good. That warm cashew cheese, you can tell they're already starting to get brown. So they probably only needed like another minute or two, because you don't want to burn the wonton shells, but those are actually ready, almost ready to go. Let me do that, throw that in there. That around real quick. All right, so garbanzo beans. So canned garbanzo beans. We got, these are low sodium, these are actually no salt. So we just have those rinsed and drained. So that's just 1 can, 14.5 ounce can. And then we've got a 1/2 cup of tahini. So the recipe calls for, and it makes a lot. So it calls for 2 cans and then a cup of tahini. I cut it in half because I'm like, I don't need that much hummus. 1 can of garbanzo beans, and making it up this way is more than enough hummus. So I would say if you want to make it, for a party and you want to have it in a nice bowl, but don't want to be overwhelmed with hummus, only go down to 1 can and go down to 1/2 cup of tahini. All right, so put the tahini in. See how nice, and that just kind of ran out like that. That was from the actual squeeze bottle that I had of tahini, the last I had left of it. You can tell just how creamy it is. It's really nice. No stirring, which I like. Okay. Then we've got the garlic cloves. Seems to be a theme, garlic all through everything, just about. This is where you could do the sea salt and black pepper. I'll do a little bit of black pepper. Then you've got a little bit, so you want to use part of the slow roasted tomatoes, because you're going to make it a slow roasted tomato hummus. I'm going to leave some for the top. So that's going to go in, because there's nothing prettier than showing people what's actually in the hummus. So that's why you want to leave some of that in the top. That. And then we're going to take the top out, and we're going to add a little bit, as it's going, just a little bit of cold water. And this had ice in it, but the ice is melted. And it turns it a really nice kind of an orange color. Needs a little bit more water. All right, so we got basil. Messy. Lots of dishes to do, Jerry. So hummus. We're going to put it in a really pretty bowl. So we just did pita chips. So it's just, regular pita pockets that you have. And then you just chop them up into nice little triangles and then put them in the oven, like 350 and just bake them out. And you'll bake them for, if you haven't done pita chips, you'll bake them for a while and you'll be like, they're just not getting hard. But if you get a couple of them that, quite a few of them that are kind of crispy and more, crispy like this, and you have some that are not, pull them out anyway, because what they do is that once they sit and they cool, they're going to get really crisp. So that's a good thing. Yeah, you can do warm water, but it's better because it, like the tahini and stuff mixes it up together. So having that cold water and stuff just gives it a nice little mix. But if you're not anywhere around that you don't have cold water, you can just do regular like tap water. You could do that too. This food processor is 11 cups. You can get all kinds of sizes. This was like one of the original ones that was, and I probably had it for 15 plus, I'd say more than that, probably even more. I couldn't even tell you, maybe 20 years. And it's one of those ones that I'd love to have, these pretty red ones and these burgundy ones that they have out there, but it still works. And it just, it keeps on ticking. It's been dropped once because it has a crack in the front and it just still holds in there. It's really nice. Cuisinart. Yes. Cuisinart Prep 11 plus. And it just keeps going. It doesn't have all the fancy stuff that, that a lot of the other stuff has, but I love it because it just holds up. And you'll notice and stuff when I'm doing a food processor, there's the hole for the blade in the bottom. If you just put your pointer finger in there, you can keep the blade, like when I'm doing this, not worrying about the blade coming out. It just holds it. When it gets down to the end, after you get done with everything that you want out of it, then you can take the blade out and scrape that down, which is really nice. Nothing worse than I think making something like this, turning it over and then getting the blade that goes splat right in the middle of everything you're making. That's pretty good. Then sloppy. Then I have the roasted tomatoes. Basil in the stores right now, not so good. Seen a couple of them lately that I'm like, and then I know Jerry was at the store the other day and stuff and couldn't find any, but it's like when I opened this one and we bought it last night and it was supposed to be, it looks good, but it's not good. So going back to the store. All right, I've got some beautiful leaves over here. I'll just grab like 2 or 3. So hopefully wherever you live, you're getting better luck with your basil. Because in Colorado, not so good. All right, so chiffonade cut. So as you see, I just took 3 of the leaves and I just rolled them up together in like a little, kind of like a little round circle. And then what I'm going to do is just do small little cuts with the knife all the way down. You can do them as thin or as thick as you want. Usually if you're doing chiffonade, you're going to do it pretty thin. And the reason why you do that, it gives you these nice little ribbons. That's called chiffonade. Always sounds really fancy, but it's pretty basic. As I dropped it. All right, so there, we'll leave that because we're going to be using that. So there is the roasted tomato hummus. You could do the same thing with a roasted red bell pepper. If you didn't want to do tomatoes and you had a whole bunch of bell peppers to get rid of, that would be the same thing you could do. And you could actually do, you could do all the you know, like green bell peppers, red, orange, all those together and roast them, and then do the exact same thing with your hummus. But put that on the table. You could do also not do the pita chips. You could do the baked chips, or you could do like all kinds of vegetables. So you have carrots and everything else there. Guarantee you it will be. And the first place that somebody's going to go and dip is going to be right there in the middle. So that's number one. Let's grab a couple dishes. So just a quick sauce. You know, that's because you've got the onion fritters that you're going to do. I happen to have vegan mayo, so it's just silken tofu, a little bit of, and if you need the recipe, just let me know. It's Kelley, Kelley at plantbasedkitchen.com. All plant-based kitchen, all one word, but it's just silken tofu, a little bit of let me think about this. I had a little bit of apple cider vinegar and a little bit of lemon. And then you can put like salt and pepper if you want it. And then a little bit of, and a lot of times what I do, because I like it, I add Dijon mustard. And so it doesn't really turn the tofu any color or anything like that. It's just adds that little bit of tart, which I really like. And so, you know, if it sets in your fridge for a little bit, and we usually keep it around because we do mock tuna salad, just stir it. Usually in a mason jar like this, plastic lid will last about 2.5, sometimes up to 3 weeks. So I'm going to grab a little dish because I need to mix it first. So I figured since we got onions, let's do some sriracha. Or you could go gochujang, that's really good. Gochujang is like roasted red peppers. It's really good. It's not as hot if you're not a big sriracha fan and you want something a little bit more mellow, but you want the flavor. Gochujang is the one to do it, and I'll show you if you're not familiar with it. Here we go. Used to be, you could only find in the Asian stores, but now you can find it pretty much every grocery store. So Korean chili sauce, really good. Low calories, low good. You stir that up. But you could make, you could do, like this, and you could do ketchup. There's anything you like or anything that you want to mix together for a sauce is good. And another thing you could do 2 or 3 days ahead of time. A little bit of scallions. It's a little, I call them little haystacks. They smell really good. They've got that, the peppers roasted and the onions roasted. I mean, what's better than peppers, onions, and garlic roasting? I don't know. Okay. Got 3 extras. Same thing, just a little scallions. Scallions are just really nice chives, same thing. Just really nice that add the color, add the greenery. A little bit big piece, don't need that. And then I do it a lot because when you take photos and you're putting them in like cookbooks and things like that, then they're just pretty. Okay. So there's our little onion stacks that are all ready to go. Like I said, they've got Anaheim peppers in them, so they're going to be great. We got a little bit of a vegan mayo and sriracha sauce, so got a little kick that's going to go with that too. So that one's ready. Tapa number 2 or appetizer number 2. I'll show you. I'll grab a fork because it'll be easier to grab it with a fork. But the nice thing about it, as you were asking, and I'll give you the name of the brand too, but you're asking if this would stick. No stick. Same thing. Once in a blue moon, like if you get a little bit, like your batter goes a little bit on the top, like when I'm doing muffins, then you'll get a little bit of the stick. But that's just, where you can just kind of scrape it back a little bit, because I do a lot of muffins in these tins too. But I really liked what I saw on QVC. So nice and browned. Wonderful. Thank you. Get all out of here. Probably don't even need a fork. I just use my fingers, but spread them out a little bit. This one, the brand is called Baker's Secret. And I've had them. I've probably had these for 10 years, but I see them everywhere. But they are, like I said, it's just, they're, metal things, but they just, for some reason, I don't have to use the oil. They don't stick. Like I said, every once in a while, you'll see something like that, where the batter will stick on the top, but they've been really good for me. So. All right, get this. And then we got the bread. So there is the artichoke cups, artichoke spinach cups, ready to go. Oh my goodness. I need I'll probably bake it just a little bit longer, get it done, but look at this thing. Yep, let me get well, first, hold on. Need a lot more basil than that. Grab them, roll them up, small cuts. Grab. Okay, so if you're looking at everything, let's move everything over. Roasted tomato hummus with pita chips, but you could do vegetables, anything else with that. But that's beautiful. It looks like it's holiday. These are we'll call them onion haystacks, and they've got some Anaheim peppers in them. They have a mayo sriracha type of dipping sauce. Very pretty, good onions. You could add all kinds of things in that. You've got your artichoke spinach. These are in wonton cups versus the phyllo cups. But it's like, if you look at this, who needs a fattening phyllo cup? That's beautiful. And think how many other things you could use in your wonton cups. You could make like a Mexican. You could make all kinds of different things. And then we've got the tomato flatbread. And you're going to cut that all up with a tahini sauce, and it is ready to go. So, like I said, who needs vegetable trays? They're always good, but who needs vegetable trays and stuff when you're going to go someplace? You could do this, and you could add like the red in here and everything else. And this, I guarantee you, will not last on your table. And you could do a charcuterie board around it, all kinds of things. But these are the fun things and stuff that you will enjoy, and you can eat, and you don't have to worry about what's in them because you made them. But then also everybody else can enjoy, and they'll love them, and they'll never know and stuff that it's plant-based. That's the good thing. Love the doing the fooling. So, all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed. It's right at time. Thank you very much. Love you guys. Happy holidays. And we'll see you the first of the year. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.